I'm Chad Brooks, Methodist pastor, but I'm also the host of a podcast called The Productive Pastor. It started about 10 months ago because I wanted to share some things that really mattered to me. The very first episode, one of the assumptions I dispelled immediately was that I am naturally an extremely productive person. In fact, I'm the exact opposite. I will win a contest at procrastination any day of the week. So I challenge you to dare me to it if you want to. But it grew and grew and grew, and one of the passions that I have behind it, not necessarily is the hyper-practical idea of productivity, but is what does it mean to have a theology of time management or a theology of productivity? And I've been thinking about this, and I was talking to a friend of mine just the other day. Her name's Michelle Mativich, and she pushed me in a really great way to begin thinking about what does a theology of productivity actually look like. And what she brought up to me was the fact, we live in a culture where value is found in production and value is found in our consumption. And that's the two things that we are focused on. And as ministry leaders, no matter what you do, we live in this same world. And where we have to be careful is that we don't fall into a pattern of finding our value and finding our worth by our production. So the idea of a theology of productivity, it has nothing to do with getting more done. That's the tension point that we find in our life. You get more done, you get more done, you get more done, you get more done. And as ministry leaders, we shouldn't seek to be productive for the sake of just accomplishing more tasks. That would be mindless. That would be Sabbath breaking. That would be a very unholy work. But we're focused on what productivity and time management looks like for us, so we can absolutely focus and drill down on what our call is like. For us to come to terms with the fact that God has given everyone in this world a call upon their life, and as ministry leaders and as pastors, we have a distinct call on our lives. And what that means is that we might have to answer for how we chose to use our time. Or as Paul said, let's make the most of the time. As John Wesley said, we need to redeem the time for us to think about what are we doing every day and how is that helping us live out the call we have in life. And so as I begin thinking about a theology of productivity, the first thing my mind jumps to is what's called the 80-20 rule. And that is 20% of what you're actually doing every day is giving you 80% of your results. So what that means is 80% of your time is spent doing stuff that you just have to do. That it really, in the long run, does not matter for what your goals to accomplish are, but that 20% does matter. And as pastors, many of us are in places where we're the only employee, we're the only person, we're the secretary, we're the janitor, we're the Sunday school teacher, we're everything. And our lives and our calls can be consumed by the 80%. And I have a lot of my friends that are working on a very thin line of margin. They're barely sleeping and handling their families, much less having a margin in ministry to do the things they absolutely must do. So my own thoughts about productivity, it stems from how can I manage that 80% well enough to begin increasing that 20%? How can I begin going in and just getting the work done so then I could increasingly spend time on the things that God has laid upon my heart as a leader, upon the unique missions that He has given the people that I lead and the unique missions He has placed upon my life. So it's not just about the hustle. It's not about living into the world's false ideology of consume, produce, consume, produce, consume, produce. It's about us managing the things that are distracting and the things that have to get done so we can create the most time for Sabbath, for soul care, but we can also create the most time for the unique ministry situations that God has absolutely called us to do and that our hearts are burning for us to participate in. I thank you, and I hope that you begin thinking about what it looks like to organize your time around the call that God has given you.